Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. And just like that, we're back with another amazing episode of the Her Voice Shines podcast. I am your fabulous host, Shanasia Washington, streaming from the beautiful Houston, Texas. I always say this, it's like one of my favorite places to be because it gets better and better every time. These women are always powerful and resilient, and I don't skimp on my guests. I always say that. And we have another amazing woman today. She's going to come to the stage, tell us her name, where she's streaming from, and guess what? What's the drill? She jumps right into that story. Without any further waiting time, here's my fabulous guest for today, and here she is.
Hello. I am Millicent Driver, Dr. Millicent Driver, and I am streaming from the Midwest. I'm from Maryville, Indiana, right outside of Chicagoland, right next door to Gary, Indiana. We all know Gary, Indiana is known for the Jacksons, but I am from the Midwest. So about me, I am an author. I'm an author of my own book, which I've written in 2022 called Pretty Ugly. And I'm also a part of several anthologies. And I love the anthologies because I get to collaborate with women, get to share my story, and also be a part of their story. So I just love anthologies, and I'm on several of those. And I'm also an author, and I said author, a coach. I'm a coach, a business strategist. And what I do is I work with women who are transitioning from that 9-to-5, or who are transitioning, from the military, from school, whatever the case may be. But they have that entrepreneur mindset. They want to go, do their own thing, but they really don't know where to start. And the thing that I learned when I was out there starting my business is that you really don't get that good start that you need to be able to launch from. So that's what my program is. It's really helping the women to have that safe space where we work on resetting the mind, we work on confidence, and we also work on the branding, the basic branding to start that business, to give them a good start so that they can feel confident in going forth. And I'm also a podcaster, and my podcast is called Tea with the Queens, where we talk about transformation, empowerment, and achievement. And when we come together, we just kind of have a candid conversation about life. It could be from business, it can be from grief, it could be from relationships. And it's very powerful. It's new for me, but it has been a great asset for this year. It's gone over and beyond what I could expect. And I'm also a speaker. So I've had an opportunity to speak on several platforms this year. And I'm very excited because not only did I get an opportunity to speak, I also had an opportunity to learn. And what got me to this point in my life was a little bit of, I would say, tragedy and triumph. I always had an entrepreneur spirit ever since I was a little girl. So being an entrepreneur was always in me. Doing my own thing was always in me. But I had to go to school, of course, because I was told I wasn't college material, so I just had to go and do it anyway. So I did that, and it was the school counselor that told me that. So I had to kind of push through all of that negativity, and I said I had to prove to myself that I could do it. I wanted to go to school, and I wanted to get a degree, so I did that. And then not only that, I got several other ones after that in graduate school. But I started working in my career. I was just doing my thing, the American dream. We're told to go to school, work in your career. I'm not saying it was just like a whole heap of money, but I was doing my thing. Then my son passed away in a car accident in December of 2011. Needless to say, that shook my world and threw me off my course. I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't know what to do. My mind was all messed up. I just never imagined in a million years that would happen to me. Then on top of that, a year later, I found out that I was having many strokes. I didn't even know, but I had some side effects. I was getting sleep studies done. I was getting all kinds of things done. And I've realized that going into the hospital, that I was having many strokes and I had damage in several parts of my brain. So add that to the mixture, I just lost hope. I wasn't working. I was on disability. I didn't go back to work after my son passed, and I just couldn't. And then when I thought I was ready, I was ill. And I was just devastated for years. I didn't want to do anything. I felt useless. I just felt like I didn't have a purpose. But then I just woke up one day and said, you know what? I'm still here. I'm still living. I have a beautiful daughter. Now I have two beautiful grandsons. I'm living. I'm here. And I wanted to make the best of the time that I have. And I want to be an impact not only to myself, I wanted to be an impact to others. I wanted to share my story with others to let them know that they have an opportunity to do it. They have a good life to live. They have dreams, goals, and aspirations. Do not allow circumstances to hold us back. Yeah, we can grieve, we can hurt over losing maybe a job, a relationship, friendships, even, a loved one, but we still can be resilient and live life. And I believe that joy and grief can coexist. So that brings me to where I'm at today. And I am still striving. I'm still pushing through. I'm still learning. You never stop learning. So this journey has been great. It's been full of ups and downs, mistakes, and things that I've conquered, but I'm here and I'm trying my best. But I would say that my best so far is pretty good to me.
And Dr. Millicent, the best is yet to come. So first you have to say that it out of your mouth and truly, truly believe it in your heart and act on that. So a couple of things from the first segment. Like grief and sickness is kind of like that double whammy. Like it's one of those, it's like a rut. Like I find myself now in this period in my life where I'm transitioning into business and also too going through other life stuff. It's like, Lord, it's so many different levels of it's so many different levels to kind of work through whatever. So I'm conscious to not allow myself to get in a rut. Right. When I say a rut in my feelings, a rut in my joy, a rut in my passion. And so many women don't talk about transitioning and going down into those ruts, whether it be through grief, finance, health, or whatever. But to see you in front of me is a testament of your resilience. So we always have to honor our guests in this space and let them know that because you're stepping forward and you're saying it out of your mouth, that is something that is cause for celebration. So I have to give you that. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about really your, because you are helping women that are transitioning from the military or for careers. And I think that what you help them do, you in part has had to do yourself, because there's always this thing of limiting beliefs. I don't believe that I am good enough. I don't believe that my experience stands and holds me firm enough to be qualified to do a certain thing. I want you to talk to me a little bit about your journey in doing that, and then also to having to step in and be the teacher for many women who are also too in that space.
When I was growing up, of course, I mentioned before that when I was in school, I wanted to take college prep classes so I can go to school. And the counselor, said, well, you're not to you quite as college material. That hurt me. That was a limiting belief that I was not good enough. It started kind of, in childhood, we hear things about, you're not quite smart. You're not pretty enough. They may talk about your weight. They may talk about your hair. Like mine was the hair and being pretty. And then to go to school and hear the counselor say that I can't take prep classes because I'm not college material. He said, well, maybe you should go to a junior college or the military. And full transparency, I went to a junior college, and I enjoyed myself at the junior college level, but it was a little different. Some of the benefits of going to a four-year university we really didn't have, but it was still, I went. And I stayed for a little while, and I was like, well, I'm going to try the military. So I went to the military, and I did, what he said. I actually went, and I was in for 12 years. I was not satisfied with just that. When I came out, I thought that I was going to get that support. I thought that, you're a veteran, is going to get, the people's going to look at you as a veteran, and they was going to honor you. They honor me and they thank me for my service, but it really wasn't a lot of resources out there for us. I wanted to go back to school, so that's what I did. I went to school, And I had to push myself, I had to push myself to take those classes and to be successful. I will be honest. Every class that I had taken, it wasn't like I got it on the first try. And I didn't have to redo it a lot of classes, probably maybe two the most. But I, had some failures along the way. But I had to go back and take a class. But I graduated. I stayed the course and I pushed myself. It wasn't as hard as I thought. I that mentally, like you say, the limiting beliefs caused me not to be able to push myself like I should have. I started to believe that, okay, I shouldn't be here. If I was struggling in, let's say, math, then I felt like, well, that's what the counselor was saying. You're really not good in this area. Maybe you're overstepping your boundaries. Maybe you are doing something that you really just can't do. So I had to condition my mind, and I had to eliminate those beliefs and to tell myself that I can. I had the limiting belief when I went back to school that I was too old. A lot of the new students, they were like early teens, late teens. I'm sorry, late teens, early 20s. I had 2 children by then. They were small, but I was still in my 20s. But I just felt like I was too old, and that almost stopped me. But I said, for some reason, I don't know where this come from. I said, if I die, I die trying. I was just in my 20s, so I don't understand why I felt like I was so old. But that's that belief that was in me. That was what was holding me back. So I ended up going to school, and I ended up just really, I guess, beating the odds for myself. So I got my bachelor's degree, then I got my first master's degree, and I went and got my second master's degree. But while I was getting my second master's degree, I had an opportunity to be an instructor for a university online. So then now I got to the opportunity to now teach others who was coming in that direction, as far as the field I was in, which was human services, being able to be an instructor. So now, not only did I get a chance to finish school, now I'm pouring into others. That was great. And I did all of that actually up until my son had passed away. So that's how I got into not only empowering myself, but wanting to empower others. So I just took all that strength that I had and all those skills, and I just kind of came over and poured it into entrepreneurship, because that we're not given a lot of opportunities when we're coming out of college, or even, like I say, the military, other than, get a job, make some money, live happily ever after, which we know that doesn't always happen. So I was like, how do we empower ourselves to be able to do our own thing, to be able to embrace our ideas and our vision and to bring it to light, but having that support in order to make that happen. That was another thing. I had support, but it wasn't the support I needed to be able to do what I'm doing now. So I had to do a lot of research. I had to kind of, dig in for myself to make some things happen. So that's kind of where I'm at. How now it's kind of like full circle why I'm so adamant about supporting women and encouraging them and building up that confidence, because because my beginnings was so rough with others, just really downing me for so many different reasons. And I just felt like, man, if I could pull myself out of that, I'm going to encourage others, because that's the way to live. And it took up a lot of my youth, but I said, now I want to allow that to spill over into my, later adulthood, I can say, or middle-aged adulthood, and just take that power back. So, limiting beliefs is a real thing.
Yeah, and I have to bring it up because that, coupled with the confidence piece, is the number one thing that comes up on this show. It does. So guess what? That means we're not having enough conversations about it, because it's no
Right.
reason for decades and decades that we're still waddling, no matter the shade, shape, or whatever, that these things are coming up. So that's the number one thing that if I could say one category, when I ask a woman typically about the challenges and pain point, number one is in the realm of limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome, and confidence, which I think all of those have ties with each other. So when we thought about the platform, it said, no, it has to be a place where women are going to come in authentically. Because sometimes, even when you go and hear this, whenever you hear this back, you can then hear your strides. And I say this often, sometimes almost episodes back to back, because you forget your strides and you forget how far you've come in the space of confidence or limiting beliefs. You do. So it's important to have the conversations and keep driving them. Let me ask you this, because you coined it, middle age. I don't know what, Dr. Millicent, I don't know what you said, older, middle age. You coined yourself in some category. We're gonna let you own the category, okay? That's what you said. But in this stage of life, what inspires you? Like, what gives you that inspiration to say, I'm gonna keep going. This fight is worth it. I have to somewhat get this inspiration from somewhere. Where is it coming from? And just talk us through what you do to stay inspired.
Well, when you're coming into anything, it's good to know your why. So I had to put my why in place. Again, I mentioned my grandsons, and they'll be 3 and 5 this year. Okay, so that was I felt that was that blessing that I received in my life. After losing my son, and then my daughter having 2 beautiful boys. So I don't know, that just kind of, it just changed me so much. And that became really a why for me, because I'm like, man, I really want to be able to have something for them. I want to be able to embrace them. I want them to be, proud of me. So that's really a lot of the motivation that I have right now in my life. That I mean, I didn't know that I would feel that way with them. A lot of people say, when you get your grandchildren, it changes you, but it really did change me, and it just gave me that inspiration. It gave me that push, and it just really, became my foundation. Another thing that I pull from. I have nieces and nephews. I love kids, so I have nieces and nephews, and a couple of them are in their early 20s, and then some, the rest are teenagers. But just being able to pour into them and being able to show them that, what they can do with their life, you know, no matter what the obstacles, no matter what the challenges that they have, never give up. And they bring me so much joy. So I mean, I do a lot of things for the younger individuals in the family, because I felt like I missed out on a lot of that growing up. Back, when I was growing up, they didn't really push us a lot. They didn't really pour into us a lot. It was do as I say. You're gonna get it. Why your grades looking like this? You're not applying yourself. So it was the encouragement, and the push was so much different. So this opportunity to be able to encourage them and to pour into them is that opportunity. So that's my motivation, is them. And like I said, I love young people and I love to be around them. Just kind of just give me that motivation to keep going. I've always been in that mode where children have always been my motivation.
Yeah, that's great. And I think this newer shift versus the parenting being just get the thing done, get it done, why your grades not this, but also to having that emotional support and really that kind of conversational support is really what's going to help and transition us to a better place, just from communication, community building, and everything. And never talk about our ancestors. I mean, they did the best they had with what they knew, but as we're coming
Yeah.
into a new place, it is very important to remember that now we're in a space to kind of change that. It's not always the task-based thing. It's the encouragement. It's the how do you feel about this. This is how you navigate it. And I just think that makes us more holistic and more in tune to not only help and support, but also to be better listeners, because we've had a foundation of having conversation. Now you skipped over this real quickly, so I'm gonna come back to this, Dr. Millicent. You was like, "Oh, I got a book. I got all these anthologies, and I got this, that, and the third." Let's go with your book that you wrote in 2022. I want you to come back and tell us again what that book is called, and tell us a little bit about the book and why you wrote it.
Okay. So the book that I wrote is called Pretty Ugly, and it's a strategies book. And I share my story about being a young girl and being told in my youth pretty early that I was ugly, that I was, I didn't go. They had the long pretty hair back then. I didn't have it, so I was bald headed, and I was scrawny and little. So everything about me I thought was ugly. And to hear it, sometimes even my dad would say, call me little ugly girl. My grandma, his mother, she would say, "Oh, you're just so ugly." I just never understood how adults can be so cruel. When I was in school, I was teased and taunted, and even the teachers had comments to say. I said, God, it must be something. But I look back on it now. I didn't have that mindset then. But when I look back on it, I said, God, it must have been something you wanted me to do, because no child should experience that level of scrutiny and be judged in that manner physically. But when I get to that point when I always wanted to write, and I've always been a writer, uh, just creative writer. But I've never even, pushed myself to even publish anything. But it was just something on me in 2022 to write this story and to share this story and write the book about Pretty Ugly. And it was strategies to overcoming those ills, those comments, that negativity. So what the book represents for me is that when I did get older and get in high school and everything, I started focusing on my physical. I wanted to look the part, and I wanted to, kind of be in the in crowd. So a lot of things I changed by myself that I had control over. It did change. So my relationships with people changed, and, my, social life changed. But I never healed from what was done to me. I never acknowledged that pain. I just kind of pushed it to the side. So when I said pretty ugly, even though I felt pretty, I was dying on the inside. So I was ugly on the inside. My self-esteem, my confidence, my self-worth, my emotions, and it affects you even spiritually, my intellect, all of those things was suffering because I never dealt with what was on the inside. I just worked on the outside. So you have to be able to embrace the whole person, not to let go of your physical and let that go, but also make sure that we're nurturing the inside and we're bringing that forth, because that is important. That is worth something. We are worth that. So that's what that book represented. I didn't when I started writing, I didn't know which direction I was going in, but that's the end result. It's really nurturing the inside, but while captivating the outside still, but always making sure that we're good on the inside in all those aspects. And that's what makes you whole. So, and don't let people tell you that you're ugly. People are, they say cruel things all the time, but you got to find the beauty within.
And then also, people are very fickle. They may think you're beautiful the next day. One day they feel like a nut, the next day they don't. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing. And that's the thing you really have to be true about. If you was to regulate your own personal emotions and things of that nature, it changes. So to put your reliance and everything on somebody else's opinion, who number one, it don't matter, but could very well change tomorrow, don't do it. So I think Pretty Ugly is definitely one that I want to check out. I do want to check your book out. I like the way it's set up, and I think it probably has some really good things. So if there was somebody right now that was watching that may be on this fence of Pretty Ugly, right? They may have it all together on the outside. They may be feeling really, really pretty on the outside, but then on the inside, there's still some ugly trying to creep in. Give us 3 tips real quickly. What would you encourage that person to do if they're feeling really, really ugly on the inside and it's outside and inside is just not aligning?
Well, the first tip would be self-awareness. Just take the time and just really assess yourself, assess where your mind is, what you're thinking, just even get in touch with what you're feeling. And that's just something that anybody can do, just protocol, just how am I feeling right now in my life? What's really going on with me? What do I feel that I'm missing? And then try to jot it down. And you might not have the total answer or be able to express in words everything that you're feeling, but just start writing down words. Just, take that time out, just say, fearful or confused, ugly, unattractive, and say, even if it's fat or tired, just whatever it is you're going through, just, not connected, to God, just feel like he's not there or he's far away or the relationship is severed. You feel whatever it is that you feel, write that down. That's step number one, is to just become self-aware of it. The next thing that you can do is just really start to appreciate your now. Just start to embrace where you are and just start to look at the things around you and just start to build yourself up. It could be just air, just looking outside and seeing the beautiful flowers, and just start to appreciate the small things, and just start to appreciate your surroundings. And then the third tip that I would give is really just start to, I guess, really just start to visualize where you want to be. Once you become self-aware of what you're feeling, just visualize where you want to be. Start to take those steps, because sometimes we can say, I feel like that my confidence is low. So what can you do to build that confidence? You might not have the answer, but then there's always resources out there. There's always someone that you can talk to, prayerfully, that you can talk to. But you have to go and kind of, seek those things out. You may feel like your spiritual life is suffering. Um, surround yourself in that environment. I know it's easy to say it than done to just go and do it, but you have to start somewhere. But no one would know how you feel but you. So just being aware and just acknowledging where you are, and then putting having a vision of where you really want to be. Of course, so many different tools that go along with it. I'm just summing it up, but it can be just that 1, 2, and 3. And you might have to visit that, a few more times. We deal with a lot of different things in our lives. So it's not just a one catch, but whatever you feel at that moment that you really want to change, acknowledge it and be in that moment. If you feel frustrated, just accept that frustration, but find out, why am I frustrated? What do I want to change about it? So as far as the beauty, that like I said, we can always adorn ourselves with everything to feel beautiful on the outside, but if you feel in a certain way, no matter how beautiful you are on the outside, sometimes it has a way of shining through, and someone would know when you're not feeling your best, or they'll know when you're down. They'll know when you're not confident, because we have certain actions that tells on us with that. So just do an assessment of where you are right now, and really find out, what you're feeling. Write it down. Any kind of word. Like I say, just write it down, or even get it in your head what you're feeling. Acknowledge what you're feeling, and let's work on going into an environment or surrounding ourselves with things to help us to change that feeling, if that's the foundation that we are in.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I think that those were excellent tips, and definitely some parts of that I can definitely relate to in my journey. We cannot leave here without you telling us where to connect with you, whether it be to find the books, whether it be email, any of your social media's website. If anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how do we find you?
Okay, on Facebook, I'm under Millicent the Strategist. That's Milicent. That's a public page where I share tips for entrepreneurs. I share just mindset tips. We just have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun on the page, and also you can reach me at www.milicentthestrategist.com. There you will be able to find my books. You'll be able to find some different merchandise that I do have, be able to connect with me. So that's where you will find a lot about me on my website. But I'm on Instagram under Millicent the Strategist. I'm on LinkedIn under Millicent Driver, and I think I'm on TikTok too, Millicent Driver. But I love all the platforms. So I really show up on all the platforms, because I have different audiences, and they all are special to me. So I make sure that I'm always present in all of those areas. And if you want to get in contact with me for any reason, whether it's speaking, or you want to be a guest on a podcast, you can reach me on my website. Because it'll lead you to all the different streams that you need to go to in order to get in contact with me. But Millicent the Strategist is what I'm known for, so that is the best way to find me on all the platforms. Millicent Driver or Millicent the Strategist.
Thank you, Dr. Millicent. I really appreciate that. But this is the part in the show where you get to leave us with your final thoughts. So if somebody was just to skim across this, they would only see this segment. Give us something that's great parting words, and also too that just represents the essence of Dr. Millicent. So here's your final thoughts, and we're going to cue to you.
If you are desiring to move in your life, and you've had struggles, you've had disappointments, you've had tragedies, just know that we still have life. We still have an opportunity to move into our goals. Yes, it's difficult. Life is difficult. It doesn't get easy because we have goals and aspirations, because things happen because they happen. But that does not mean that you don't have the opportunity, the skill, the knowledge, and the strength to be able to go and to walk through your own doors. I would like to leave you with this, that limiting beliefs are real. They come and sneak up on you at different times, but just acknowledge those things. Acknowledge what is holding you back. You're not too young. You're not too old. Your dreams and your goals is just as valid as other person's. So don't try to compare yourself. Stay in your lane and know that you have a road to travel, and your road that you travel on can be very successful. Never, ever, ever give up. That is who I am. That is what made me. That is why I am Dr. Driver. I did not give up. I have surrounded myself with a support team, and they have been very, very, very instrumental in where I'm going. I network, and I'm always in the position of learning. So never stop learning, never stop striving, and just know your goals and your vision and your dreams and your mission is valid, is valid, is valid. Walk in that thing.
I love it. And that was Dr. Millicent, y'all. She stood on business and she said those are her final thoughts. And I think she means that from her soul. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another amazing, amazing episode of the Her Voice Shines podcast. I told you our guests here are always great. I will never leave this space without saying I love you, and to remember to let your voice shine. Until next time, we'll be back with another amazing lady, and we're out.